It's stone down, and from here up is red brick.
You're my new favorite person. I'm gonna have the best dreams tonight, knowing this information. Oh my gosh.
Well, if you do it, I did a tour of this, and they tried to tell me that this took 4 years to build, that it was built by French slaves captured by the British in 4 years. The thing is incredible, and as I say, it's like a jewel. And I'm going to say, I'm a builder. I've been a builder for like most of my life, 30 odd years. I build things. I know about cutting stone and building blocks, and there's no way. 40 years minimum, and even then, I'd want like the of stonemasons that exist to even attempt to build something like that.
Well, 4 years to put red brick on top of that. Yeah, I think I could see that.
You're already blowing our minds, obviously. The first things that we got was...
funny you should mention masons.
Yeah.
Well, this is... I'm going to get to... Well, then hold on.
No. We cannot hold on just yet.
I can't imagine there's any connection there.
Well,
everybody who's now listening to the live stream, this is Cosmos, and he's from Dublin, Ireland? Is it, or just...
Yeah.
Okay, Dublin, Ireland. We won't hold that against him. But what we're doing here is... I'm sure he can drink just like the rest of us, but this is basically the most amazing thing. We're getting involved in star forts and electric archaeology, and one of the things that he's shown me, now I've seen some of this before on New Earth, a little bit of stuff about these star forts. Are these star forts something that was what's the word I'm looking for? Were they actually built for cannon fire like they say? Were they done way back when? It looks like that might not be the case. If you look at a lot of these forts from the air, we're starting to see that they've been reused. They're a lot older than they appear to be, and they seem to be related to other structures around the area. So Cosmos, thanks for being here, and well, don't let me stop you. Obviously, you're blowing our minds. So,
well, this actually blew my mind. As I said, when I was researching it, this is another star fort here down in Cork in Ireland.
Okay.
And do you see this land cut that I'm tracing with the mouse here?
Yes.
Now that's 40 feet wide. I think 40 feet wide and about 40 feet deep.
That's by the way, why is a regular road street for 2 cars to pass.
Yeah, well, that's cut into the bedrock, basalt.
I'm just telling the people. Just so they know.
Surface is tilted at 2 degrees.
Okay.
And it's not as smooth as a mirror, but it would be as smooth as, say, a paving slab that would come out of a factory.
Okay. That's pretty darn smooth.
It's pretty smooth. And to be told that was dug by French slaves taken by the British, forced slavery, labor, to get such an immaculate finish with no errors. And when you measure that, of course, this comes, when you measure all the way through this whole thing, it comes all the way down here. And then, of course, there's another star fort right across the bay, which has an even longer channel cut down through the bedrock there. I'm just tracing it. You can see it. And with the tools and equipment available at the time, that task, I mean, there's no way it could have been done as they say. There's absolutely no, and I mean, even if they were blasting with dynamite, which they weren't, they didn't have it at the time, and not in those quantities anyway. If they were, it would just be literally impossible. And this is just 2 small. I believe that was 1 star fort. There's another one on the island there. They call it Spike Island. You can see it there. This is where we used to.
Smaller.
It is, but at the same time, does not mean it's small. Like, these are big. This was a prison. We turned this into a prison. And we have it on the record now that there are tunnels going.
Turn that into a prison. You turn an entire continent into a prison.
We won't get into that one right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, because it's on fire. We're supposed to be polite.
Right.
No, I shouldn't be mocking that. Sorry for that.
No, you're fine.
No, I meant to the people. I mean, there are people suffering right now, and I shouldn't be making fun of it.
Well, listen, if you don't make fun of things, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, okay?
So. That's true, but I should at least acknowledge that I was being a dink. So anyway, continue.
That's okay. So, Okay, so just to show you here, for example, here's another castle in the middle of Ireland, Burr Castle, and we're told this is a modern construction. You can see the Star Fort elements there. Do you see that?
Well, yeah, yep.
Now, the funny thing is, of course, is if you take the time, like I did, to go visit Burr Castle and you look at the quality of the stonework on what they call the moat, they call this a moat around the castle, and then look at the castle itself, you'll notice that whoever built the moat was, by a factor of 20, a better stonemason than the guy who built the castle. You know,
we've noticed that, and this wouldn't be the first time, by the way, that we've noticed that some of the structures, I think we know Edinburgh Castle. No one has a clue who built that, and that's,
right. There's a big,
like, for example, yeah. I mean, we just don't know why they're built. So obviously, to think that there are forts. I mean, from my understanding, and if we're talking about the New Earth lady, she even in France, there's a pyramid that's a road ran into. You know, they're cutting through a road, making a highway.
Yeah, there's a pyramid between France and Spain.
That's probably the one I was referring to then.
Yeah, I used to have it marked, but it's...
Don't worry about that. We'll find it later. But please go on with your work. This is fascinating. So we're obviously seeing situations where the ground, like there was one in Africa he was showing us. The ground was, it was on an escarpment, and it cut the fort right in half. Fortress Louisbourg in Canada, cut right in half. I didn't even know that. My parents were there. Everyone took tours of that. No one told me, yeah, it's a star fort, but it was cut in half by the water. Like that.
And the beautiful one that is in Japan, it has to be seen by the people. I mean, you have to go back to that one.
Oh, well, we'll have so much time, I'm sure.
Let me just show this one is very interesting. This one is down in Florida, at the Florida Keys. Let me see which one was it.
Which, by the way, no one would ever go to.
No, you'd have to have a very good reason.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and some of this might have been connected by land in the past, but oh my God, right? So
now wait till you see where this is.
I'm looking at it. Look at this thing. What?
Okay. Now I'm going to go down. There is a view.
They put a moat around something on the water.
Now,
what the hell?
Who the hell would do that? Why would you put a moat around something that's already in the middle of the ocean? And look at this thing. This is
I think maybe you could have your own. You could maybe make it freshwater and have it your own stocked supply of food and fish.
Now this looks like a lot of brickwork, obviously.
Yeah.
Are there bigger stones in the or other structures, or what are we looking at here?
You need to see this. You need to see this inside. Look at this inside. Look at this structure. Now look at where it is, which is the middle of nowhere.
Of nowhere.
Literally.
Yeah.
No offense to other nowheres.
And an extensive construction that's been maintained over a long period of time.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I would love to hear an explanation. I mean, I've read the so-called official explanation.
Which is what?
It's so ridiculous.
What did they say?
It was to protect some trade routes or something. And I said, really? Well, how come you can't get a ship in and out of it if that's the case? Where
it looks incredibly vulnerable.
Can't ship to it. There's no pier. You know,
and parts of it look like what's that? Are those structures in the water? Like, am I seeing?
Yeah.
Like there was more structures around it, but they're gone now, and okay.
So the interesting thing is, see this little land bridge here?
I do. Yeah.
Now, if you go to the historical, this one I found interesting. When you go to historical imagery, and if you go right back to the beginning, you'll see that it's not connected.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Right. So as I go,
those little dots at each corner there.
Yeah, just watch as we go forward.
Wait, the water level's going down. Now I'm all confused about climate change.
Correct. Not only does it, and you can prove that this is not tidal because it's got growth. It's got greenery on it. Yeah.
So what are we implying? What are we implying about this structure right here? I mean, there's a lot of awe.
A small
that's gone
tsunami
into
could
it.
do some dirt to it too, but they could have also tried to fill it in. It could have been any.
What I'd say is, clearly, I think this is now giving us some physical evidence that we can say there's a reevaluation required. Because I'm suggesting that either somebody from the geological world is going to have to explain to me how Florida has risen a couple of inches, therefore the water level has dropped, and nobody thought good to mention it, because the people in the Maldives who are on a similar situation, the Maldives was where they had a conference underwater. Everybody was around the boardroom table wearing scuba gear, these world leaders supposedly, because claiming the Maldives were about to sink beneath the waves. And I've just done exactly the same thing I did there with some of the Maldives, and they show signs of coming out of the water too, historically. So something is afoot.
Someone could just build that up, though, that walkway, and add.
That's entirely possible, but I doubt it if you look at it again, right? Because one, it's going to another island with nothing on it.
Yeah, it doesn't look well established. It looks like it's grown over.
Well, the time period.
I'm not seeing a large road through the middle of there that would justify.
There's nothing over there. Yeah.
It sounds to me that North America is still rebounding.
It's only going back to 1994.
Well,
it's just ruins now, right? The building is just ruins.
No.
No.
The grass is being mowed. I can tell.
Oh yeah, the United States flag flying on it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fort.
Oh, there's a Starbucks.
Well, we know it's American now. No, but
there's a plane.
Oh, seaplane, yeah.
There's a seaplane. Somebody, it's Fort Jefferson.
Okay.
That's where the Tortugas. That's where Captain Jack and all those guys were doing their thing. And
it should say more dry tortillas.
Well, they must have brought a fantastic bricklayer with them when they were doing it.
Oh, they did.
Well,
I mean, the Roman. It kind of looks Roman, doesn't it? Like, I mean, sorry, I shouldn't say that it's Roman per se, but I've noticed those kind of bricks on the windows, how they have that look to them. It's similar to the Colosseum, or at least I think they are. But anyway, I leave that alone, of course.
Think of how many trees you had to cut down to make the furnaces, just to fuel the furnaces for this many red bricks.
Well, you got a point there.
These are national endeavors. This is
and as I said, my favorite thing is to put it into the center of Google Maps or Google Earth and just start zooming out and seeing exactly where this isn't. It's nowhere.
Right.
It's
zero.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That wasn't the strangest one. The strangest one I found was one in Hawaii.
You're not going to defend anything.
By the way, I just wanted to say that I think it's very cute that you think that the Geological Survey will answer you.
Well, I do like that anyway.
I mean, it's good that you're asking questions, but I've already decided. Like, I have so many friends who are literally dying trying to get people to listen to them. It's time to just sort of take a step back and move and go, hey, audience, let's go over here.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
You'll enjoy this one. Here was a fun one. I was saying to myself, okay. These seem to be appearing in streams. So surely there can't be one in Hawaii, because who the heck in their right minds would build a star fort in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, basically? Well, somebody seemed to think it was a good idea.
I'll be damned.
Is that Bart Simpson?
Whoa. That is very... Whoa. Okay. You guys didn't even take over that until 18 friggin' something. Like 19, it was almost 1930 before you got rid of the king there. So...
Right. What? And this is not the main island.
No, this is not even Big Island. This is.
But that fits with what the other things you've seen that have been kind of out of the way,
and like out of place.
A power generating structure or something, or
That's interesting that you say that, because that's where I was coming to next. I'll just show you. There's another star that looks like
I've heard this, but I've actually I was like, no, you can't get me on the power thing. But here I am. I'm going to listen. Don't worry. But when I first heard her say that, I was like, are you sure? Because I did want to introduce the New Earth girl to.
Well, what's a utility that benefits an
has.
entire society? That's what you have to think. What's an endeavor that an entire society could get around?
Oh, you don't have to convince me. I'm the guy that would sit there and talk about pyramids and stuff. So I mean, there's merit to the idea, but I want to see a little bit more. There has to be some evidence.
I think power may have been involved, but not power generation or power supply. But I just wanted to show you this star fort here because it's of similar design to the one in Hawaii. See that?
Yeah,
wow.
Not remotely.
I see what you're seeing.
See the way it kind of.
So it's a repeating form,
right? But that one.
Simpson again.
Yeah. So that one.
It looks like it could have been changed.
Pardon me.
Sorry. Do you mind putting the measurement tool on there so you can see to scale how big these places are, just to get reference to people?
It's actually in the corner. There's a scale in the corner. I think my head's covering it though. Let me get myself out of the shot. And you guys can see the scale in the lower left. So it says
I see the scale 131 meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every meter is 3 feet or so. So just so you know.
Let's say that's from there to feet.
Well, we have people from all over the world, so feet, meters, we'll figure it out.
So if we go back to the island in Hawaii, what you want to measure this one as well, is it?
Actually, it also has the same internal structure, doesn't it?
Interesting. So it's 460 odd feet, so it's about the same.
Oh, be damned. So there's a connection between Scotland and Hawaii. That's hilarious. A cultural connection at a time in the past. Potentially.
Yeah. See,
maybe.
I'm not just looking at the fact that there's a structure. I'm looking at the shape, the number of points, the geometry. I'm trying, and then
the orientation.
And it seems to me that there is an extended point on the points on the one in Hawaii and the one over by Scotland.
Yeah. So what I was also doing, I haven't got it on this map, but I was also doing on another map. I had to stop doing it because it was making the map too busy. I was extending the points of the forts to see were they connecting.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
I was just
bated breath.
Right. I'm literally biting my nails.
So, where it was interesting was when I started to look for countries where I couldn't find star forts. Then I started to think, oh, this is interesting. Places that I couldn't find any trace. For example, like Argentina was quite.
Could we go with Antarctica? But sure, Argentina.
However, if you see here,
what's your method of searching for star forts? Do you look for big rivers, channels, or what's your first impression, instinct?
OCD and a bottle of red wine. No,
Good method.
Sheer determination.
So there's another star fort that looks like it was ripped right off the coast.
Yeah, sorry.
So what's this? Tell us about the South American thing. What's going on here? What are we seeing?
Okay, so this side of South America, there are a few.
The West Coast.
Not many. There was another one up here, Star Fort Trace. Yeah, the Star Fort Trace up here.
Yeah, they don't count because they were made by hippies.
I just used to sit here at night and just do it. See this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't 100% sure there, so I just went, it's a trace, maybe. It's a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could also be sort of like a landing strips, but we'd have to go look, yeah.
Yeah, but then I thought, well, there's another one quite close by, so this added.
Yeah. But this one that's one.
Oh, well, goodness gracious.
Right.
Now,
so,
it knows the circles on this one as well. Very interesting.
What's the name of the could you zoom in, see what the name of the building is, and then find out what
the Star
what year it was?
Sorry, you had a different question. My apologies.
Yeah. I just want to see the name of the building, see circa when it was built.
You could actually probably look up Lima, Peru, or Starfort, because it looks like the only one there. But the reason I wanted to mention the circles is because Baalbek actually has some circles in it as well, and I always thought that they were kind of weird that they were there.
Circles have been added in a lot of cases for gun emplacements, so that you could literally front the arc.
Good point. Good point.
Right. Well, let me show you this. Now, this was the so this was part of it, but I know the other part that I haven't shown you was.
Well, actually, if you don't mind, I actually have to do something here because we have a lot of people who are currently watching, and I didn't even get a chance. We just jumped right into this. So, guys, thank you all for listening. We already have over 50 people paying attention right now, chatting away. Obviously, very interested in the fact that we're finding ancient structures, or apparently ancient structures, all over the coast here. We have, of course, our invisible friend, who I won't name. We have Chris, of course, Mike, Robert, James, Duff. Did I call you Chris? I'm sorry. And Rick, Tess, Buddy, and of course, our good friend Cosmos here, who is taking some time out of his busy schedule of drinking and smoking to look here with us.
Blowing us away with his amazing knowledge.
That is it. And thanks, those people who are listening here. I see a lot of old faces. Ryan, Jim, Renegade, of course. Thanks for being here. I'll have a chat with you all in a second. I'm going to do the actual preview right now and get that because just so for people who are listening and wondering what the heck is going on. So I'll set that up right now real quick, and we'll get right back into this as soon as possible. I mean, it'll only take me a little bit, so no problem. You do that up. I mean, yes, please.
So,
welcome to the Electric View, episode 105. This is the 106. I went to the wrong one. Can you believe it? So today on the Electric View, we're talking to our special guest Cosmos, discussing the mystery of the thousands of starforts around the world, and if these ancient structures were indeed electrical. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, of course. Don't let me stop you. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Keep going.
Okay, so this was something my son pointed out to me, and he knows I'm very interested in sound. And a lot of the starforts had what I felt were unusual acoustic properties. When you walk around them, there's quite interesting acoustics. And I'm just going to play this for you. This is from a guy, this guy had nothing to do with me or starforts or anything like that. I just saw his video. And what he does is he plays two separate sounds in through an oscilloscope, one through the right channel and one through the left channel on the oscilloscope. Okay. And you get the following. Now you're going to hear the sound. If the sound is too loud, I'll lower it there. So I just want everybody to be clear. What you're looking at here on the screen of the oscilloscope, this is not computer-generated graphics.
No, okay, I know what an oscilloscope is, yeah.
Right, but just for the listener, this is, in other words, anybody who's looking at this is not graphics. This is actually being formed by the sound wave.
It's waveforms.
By the way, we can't hear the sound, so don't worry about that. But we can see the shapes.
Yeah, I can't put the sound through everything, but I'll just hold on.
Oh.
Now, what I noticed was, as this continues, it's starting to make the shapes of the starforts. So I thought, that's interesting, because some of the older starforts seem to be mounds of earth that were then built upon by brick. And I was wondering, or curious rather, would it be possible create these polyphonic vibrations that would actually cause the earth to make these forms for them, depending on the surrounding. Because I was wondering, why are they such unusual shapes?
Right. It's amazing.
Hey, audio.
Oh, we can't hear the audio. Don't worry.
Yeah, but if you could put the audio through for people, or maybe hear it yourself. If somebody, if I send that link,
you have to be the one that actually send us the audio, because you're not sharing the audio. That you can share your screen, but you have to hit another button to share your audio. It's okay if you're not, but I take it that the tones are changing.
Yeah, no, it's quite important. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
So screen. I go here. There we go. There's share computer sound. Okay, that should let me know if you hear it now. Did you hear it that time?
No,
not yet. No.
I think you got to turn your speaker up too as well. I thought your volume looked down.
Well, no, it should be fine. The easiest thing to do would be for me to steal the screen from you, and you steal it back from me. So we'll do that.
Okay.
It'll just take me a second. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, start sharing. Okay, I have now grabbed the screen, and you could go ahead and grab it from me, but this time hit with sound, and it should work just fine. Hopefully. Ostensibly.
Okay.
And now I can hear myself talk. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
I was afraid of that.
That's okay. We won't talk. That's okay. We won't talk. Do your video.
Let me know if you can hear.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So, just that again, I'll kill my screen share and start it again.
No problem. I'll grab it. Oh, okay. It looked like it worked, so go ahead and start again.
Definitely heard that though.
Yes, I did.
So this time now, you shouldn't be hearing. You shouldn't be getting echo back. So as I said, I this guy just likes to do experiments with sound and oscilloscopes.
And now, what sound notes is he using?
He calls that one shrooms, for example, and he does lots of.
Sorry, I thought that this was related to your work. My apologies.
But that's what I'm saying.
It is.
I think there's a relationship, but Jerobeam and Fenderson, I don't know if this guy is aware of what a starfort even is.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know how you stepped onto this. My thing.
Well, sound is related to electrical, because Monty can talk to Sapphire, and it responds.
And also, there's the ancient stories about walking around structures 7 times and then chanting and using sound to take down the structures and horns. So people might have known this and spread down. So people had to build hang on. So people had to build acoustically their structure so as to not be destroyed in that manner as well.
You didn't get that, buddy.
Again, what I made a video in the past, and I don't know if you guys are aware. In New Scientist magazine, I used to regularly get New Scientist magazine, and not too long ago, about a year and a half ago, they did an article saying that the brain had a single brain fart, looking for a word, a single like nerve, and that goes over the entire surface of your brain. And if they pulsed electricity at a certain frequency, the mind of the individual was essentially blanked momentarily.
Okay.
Along the lines of the Men in Black. You know the Men in Black, Will Smith and the guy, they hold up the flashy thing.
Oh, yeah. I do that to people with my phone.
Right.
Right. So the idea was that there was one nerve, if you will, even though the brain has the two hemispheres, but there is one. I'm trying to think of the word; it'll come to me. But like nerve.
The vagus.
I can't think
Not
of the
the
name.
vagus.
I will dig out the New Scientist magazine article and show it to you. But what I found interesting was, historically, when the British Empire, etc., has been traipsing around the globe, meeting all these civilizations and asking them, hey, who built the huge structures over there to incredible precision? All the people would tell them, we don't know. They were here before we got here, or the ancients built them,
That's
or
what
whatever.
the Inca said, yeah.
Right. Well, this is regularly across the globe, apparently.
Oh,
Now,
yes, that would be a common theme.
it's common, yeah. So what I thought
Except
was
for the
interesting.
Romans. I guess the Romans will claim that they did it.
Well, they claim they made a lot of things that I don't think they made. But anyway,
Well, the
The
same
point I'm
thing
making-
with the Egyptians is what I'm saying. But yeah, go ahead.
the point I'm making is this particular electrical frequency can literally wipe your mind. And I'm thinking, well, if the Earth was involved in, I mean, even if this frequency could only arose erratically through whatever was happening, it would also potentially have had the ability to eradicate your higher knowledge, and it would return you. It wouldn't physically harm you, but this pulse, at this specific frequency, it would wipe away your intellect essentially and leave you
Like a
on
built-in reset button?
like that button. Yeah.
Now,
Again,
no. You don't have to. This is actually part of EU theory. In case anyone here is confused, this is very much something that was talked about by Wall and others, especially during what was referred to as the Tower of Babel event, which to some people, and I don't know if it's Eduardo, I don't know if it's who exactly stated this, but it was definitely in John Cook's work.
Peter Mungo Jump also talked about it
Perfect.
in the Australian areas when the Wallace Line was probably formed.
Ah, right. Well, anyway, what happened is that there's a in that event, which is attributed to Mercury, which will be one of the few planets that interrupted us that has a magnetic field, a full magnetic field, although it's weaker than ours, but ours is not that strong anyway compared to others. But if they interacted and created that frequency, as you had mentioned, it would completely account for everyone having to learn new languages. Completely.
Yeah, it would essentially wipe away your higher learning, your mathematics, your language, as you say, and your knowledge of past. So you'd just literally come to, but your
Mass
abilities
amnesia.
would be the same. Yeah, your abilities would be the same.
So it
In other
affects
words,
So it
the same
affects your like if I practiced
Higher
all my
learning.
martial arts stuff, that's one thing. I'm going to be like that lady in The Long Kiss Goodnight there, Gina Davis, who learned that she could throw knives into a wall because she could chop dice or tomatoes real quick type thing.
And you would have to learn a language. You would have to invent a language to speak with people again.
Everyone in every
And it would
area
be
would
different
have to-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'd look over to your left and you'd be like, wait, did we build that?
Did we do that?
Well, exactly.
Did we do
And
that?
what's even more, if you look, I have Google Earth up here
Right.
again, and if you look at Google Earth, so you can see here, I think you can see a path, a tract across the Earth. You know what they call the Eye of the Sahara.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, everybody's familiar with that. Well, I think this is another version of it here. This entire desert. I believe that's a single event. And I believe that if you look that the Earth that it tracked through here, I would say that's an initial contact point. I'm going to use this phrase, straight through, across, and out. And if you allow the Earth to tilt, after that, going into the ocean, say tilt, hang on, oops. Now, if you allow for the tilt back to the south point of Australia, back through, absolutely fry, or sorry, that was the south of South America, absolutely fry the center of Australia, and then back through North America, the loop through across Southern America and out again. See the way it hit through Southern America, but it didn't actually quite reach to the end here, and it didn't hit this part of Argentina here and back out before
Is
it's
this the event that flipped the Earth from south to north?
Yes, I believe that path I've just traced for you is the path that the Earth actually took. Now, interestingly, if you look from Ireland through England, through France, Germany, and Italy, that there's a line right down here, and the population that essentially controls the Earth to this very day lives in that single strip.
Is this
The
the
spot that never,
same?
the spot that doesn't get hit.
And they weren't hit. So, in other words, they retained their old knowledge, and when when the empire, when they were going out across the earth to establish what we call the British Empire,
Like you do.
they knew they were going to keep coming across tribes with bows and arrows. They absolutely knew that that's all they were going to face, because, but they went and they always gathered all the knowledge first.
This doesn't explain China, though, but keep going.
It will do. I'll get to China in a minute.
All right.
I mean, where the British Empire went and conquered at the time, and they would then, and only after they had gathered all the knowledge, all of their stories about the past and their valuables, then they would obliterate the people, but not before then. Okay?
Well, because they wanted to keep the information for themselves. Sounds like Masons.
Actually, Mason's right. I was thinking this is kind of like the equivalent of neutron bombs.
Yes.
If you understand, if you're as old as I am, then you've obviously been taught, yes, neutron bombs were designed specifically to kill people and leave structures intact.
All the buildings will be fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are you implying with the star forts then? They were designed to withstand the potential electric arc before the arcing or after? Or
Yes. Well, I'll come to that in a minute. The star forts facilitated, is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that the if you look at the structure, let's just pull one up here. Actually, I'll show you the one. Where was the one in Japan again? Hold on a second. Let me think of it. Was it in Tokyo? God.
I don't know what it is that my...
I thought it was in Osaka, no?
Maybe it was Osaka.
What about those glyphs on the islands or the beaches or whatever?
What's going on that my thing just not broadcasting or something?
Let me figure that out. I'll do a quick search for it. Hold on a sec. Because I do want to show you something on that one as well, and it will tie in with this.
Thank you, Cosmos. You're the greatest. Just take your time. This is awesome.
Don't worry. The whole thing just seemed to crash for some seconds, so don't worry about that. I don't know why. It just was like, hi, we're not going to broadcast anymore. Screw you. I was like, okay. So anyway, we're back, so don't worry about that. But
I just want to jump in and talk about the North American. There was a big. I'll shut up while he's gone.
No, go ahead.
Look at that beauty.
That is beautiful.
Now,
Wow.
I'm going to go down onto street level for you guys, okay?
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right, so straight away, like, see this like normal looking wall beside the bridge? And when you have a look, what is it? It's polygonal.
It is.
Right? And then I
Sure
went,
enough.
okay, surely they didn't build all the bricks around the waterline with polygonal bricks. And they did. Now, that's not a great photo there. See the corners, the way they're raised out at an angle? So I went up here. Yeah. I mean, the masonry in this is absolutely spectacular. The whole thing. And again, this is now supposedly, you see, this is why this one's important. Well, for lots of reasons. But the empire never got into Japan 400 odd years ago, so they should absolutely not have stopped.
And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but when I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, I'm sure that some of them got there.
Did you really just say that?
I did. But if I'm not
We
mistaken,
could probably edit that out later.
no. I'm actually quite content. But there was some connection there because I recall, and didn't they start mowing them down with Gatling guns in the 1880s or something, or Samurai and Tom Cruise? I don't know.
Look at the quality of this stonework. And this has been true. Now, don't forget, they get a lot of earthquakes and all. So
that's actually one of the best ways to build if you have earthquakes.
Right.
Because
we see
it's
that all over
heterogeneous.
South America. This is indicative of a specific culture, this style of brick of megalithic stone building.
now, as you go through,
But these aren't megalithic. These are like smaller boulder size, right?
Right. No, it's true. But this,
guys, I can tell you, as a builder, and
precision fitting is a very specific skill.
it's this would be, and I mean, on my best day, there's no way to build these blocks together. I would challenge anybody to take 50 blocks out of that, duplicate them in cardboard, scatter them on the ground, and ask somebody to put them together. And give them an hour. They're still not going to get them together as tight as that. It's just not going to happen.
Agreed. And this
may
be
probably
just
crap
after the. Well, this may be just after the stuff, kind of the timeline wise, just after the stuff that was built in Cairo, in Pumapunku, that was completely destroyed.
Yeah,
they still had some of the knowledge, and some of the ability still, but this stuff is very, very old.
Now,
when does Japan say that this was built? What's the circa era on this? Like, because if you go to each one of these star forts, each one's going to claim that it was built around a certain time period. You know what I mean? And then there's Renaissance.
Supposedly they're all within 100 years of each other, or thereabouts, shall we say. That would mean Earth had to be populated all of a sudden by the most amazing stonemasons, in the billions. It's just not possible. But see the house here. The reason I wanted to go inside is if you look at the house here and the star fort, keep in your mind the star fort shape and the reason that the Japanese built these points at the end of their roofs. They said it was to allow sky demons and spirits to come down the roof and slip off and go back up to the sky. But actually, they were talking, in my opinion, about arcs of electricity and plasma, because they would form and gather at those points. And I think that's what the star fort structure was about, to allow electricity to form. If you will, St. Elmo's fire would be at the extreme part of the point.
I've shown some pictures of this, by the way, up at...
which would also...
Okay, because Neil talks about this a lot in the show, when the ionosphere came oftentimes, and it explains this, but now you're relating the star forts to it, which is really engaging my interest. Please continue.
Actually, this is why I started with the electric archaeology or electric universe archaeology type of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, geology is still where it's at, but we're starting to hit onto the point now that we can see that allowing demons to slide off the roof is, this is, by the way, what we call them. You can recognize the difference between spirits and demons depending on their smell. Plus, we stop demons and stuff like that by layering down salt, but demons have been around because of the smell of sulfur. All of these are electrical, by the way, every single thing I just said. So to see them related in here to this type of thing, and to see that they too were concerned about that, plus the fact that they were using wood and not stone might have been helpful for them, because the way that stone absorbs water, keeps things from burning and arcing. There could be numerous advantages to using that.
Absolutely. Also, for example, other cultures will talk about jinns. D-J-I-N-N, yeah, the jinn.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a queen getting drunk. But yes, okay, gins.
Not gin and tonic. But, sorry, here, there was a star fort here, which I thought this was interesting, in the Persian Gulf. Again, this is not a place one would expect to find one. And look at the shape on this island.
That island
Okay,
was recently made by a giant strike.
Right. Now watch this.
Built up, looks like.
Now this star fort had been destroyed, and they've rebuilt this section.
They did, yeah. So I correct myself. Maybe this island was the focal point of an excavation. Because I mean, the swirling in the middle of the island seems to be indicative of like a tornado or a hurricane of fire type of thing, with it being the center. It's a land mass, of course. It's going to be out in the bay. It's the first thing, perhaps, that the storm encountered, and it's stuck there, which is.
I mean, it looks like a mini version of Olympus Mons, right?
Well, that's totally an event created that.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at you don't get that circular structure any other way. Yeah. I would be hard pressed to think it was volcanism, but you're right, buddy. It could be.
I wouldn't say it was volcanism either. But what I found interesting,
he brought it up, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Oh, sure. As I said, this seems to be. I mean, give me another reason for rebuilding this out here into the sea like that. No, anybody I've asked,
it looks
like to go.
Honestly, is it underwater? Can you go do a surface walk on that?
No,
maybe zoom in.
We've seen a lot of structures that have been mangled. I mean, look how this fort was etched on the edges. It was etched. I mean, look at some of the parts of that. If you look at the lower right, for example, you can see that at least in the other picture, you can see cracks and ripped out of the side of it. To the upper left, clearly it's been mangled, and with the landscape not via damage or something, like via a man-made structure or man-made
Well, it kind of reminds me of the recat structure, but opposite polarization, building on top of.
You mean the whole? Or
I didn't.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Anyway,
the recat is depressed. This has obviously been built up.
I just want to say that the Nisqually earthquake that happened in the northwest of the United States, there was a place on the coast that had this sand pendulum thing, and it made a star formation during the earthquake. So I think you're suggesting that the shaking event of the entire planet would naturally make these star formations.
Yes.
That then other people would then build on top of that structure, geological structure, but they made it
because
into
it was holy.
Artificial.
Yes, it was a sacred. It was, in other words, it was the gods formed these structures for us, so we should use them.
This is the same argument that Ramon was having when we were in talking about some of the structures even in Kentucky. Which just Kentucky, he was sitting there. Yeah, this looks like a strike, and we found, of course, a henge somewhere in the United Kingdom, I suppose. This is where henges are from, and that recently had a lightning strike as being the center point of it.
Well, I mean, if you can identify this as a reversal event, specifically kind of an Earth reversal thing, then you've got 3 dates in the last 40,000 years.
Well, this was a shocker for me when I discovered that the Vatican itself is a star fort.
Wow.
That's in Rome, right?
What isn't the Vatican?
Yes, right? I already knew that.
So the people who are in doubt, there's the Vatican, and there's another star fort right there.
That's in the Vatican? Where's the Vatican?
There's Italy.
There's the Vatican City there.
Where's your mouse? I can't see your mouse.
Right here. Can you see?
Oh, that's the Vatican over there? Okay.
It's taking some time to load because it's a lot of detail. So mine's going a little bit slower since I'm sending information out. That might be affecting viewers.
Let's just zoom in. If you okay, close that there. Yeah. So if you see that the wall of the Vatican City is the walls of a star fort, I'm going to go down the street view here and show you. Right. So that's the wall of the Vatican City, and it is in fact a star fort. The whole thing.
Sonobiology. It's all about the sound. if you take this,
what do those stones look like?
hang on.
Can we do a close up of the stones?
Yeah, let's look at the architecture.
Lower down.
But as we do that, you know what this really reminds me of? It reminds me of diatoms and the shapes of diatoms. And I just did a show on it yesterday for the Geometric View, a sister channel of the Electric View. And literally what are the conclusions that we started to draw, and Heather came on and started talking about this, because the shape of diatoms, I concluded on the show, and what we started realizing is that there's thousands of them, but each one of them is a specific shape, and there's stars and all sorts of weird shapes. But they're probably like, and they're produced like on the tops of the poles, around the poles, and where the Birkeland current energy comes in. So I thought that maybe they were made out of sound. The structure of the natural structure of them they're glass, but they form into these natural minimal energy configurations and minimal surface tensions structures. And these star forts are also mimicking diatoms. So that's basically all.
You can't go and show me Google Earth pictures of before the Pentagon was built, but there has to be some flybys to show some indications that we could see it prior to, if that's what you're implying.
I had that. I'll dig it out.
Oh, okay.
This is, again, Venice. Again,
those darn Venusians.
Incredible star forts that, again, everybody talks about Venice being, a city of water, etc., but nobody mentions that little diamond right there.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm doing to the stream to cause it to disconnect, by the way. Like, I'm not doing anything. It's just suddenly kicking out. But
the information is too amazing.
Yeah,
they're trying to stop
it from happening. That's what's going on here. They don't want us to tell you the truth. The truth is, things you have to know, that star forts are real and they're controlling our minds. Anyway.
Well, I don't know. But anyway.
No, it was just coming back on the stream, so when they get reconnected, they're going to hear that first. It's hilarious. Anyway.
I thought this was a star fort here as well.
Well, it definitely looks like part of one.
Exactly. That was Ibiza. There's another one. Oh, is this it? This one, I think, was another very interesting one. Yeah. Can you see here? It's just the section of one. In other words, as if the rest of it is missing. Like, who builds just the outside edge of a star fort and says, we'll finish the rest in the sea some other day in 200 or 300 years' time, maybe.
Build over top of it. And then sort of just...
It's not the top section, not the star fort. It's just the bottom section down here. And the rest of it, in other words, should have been in the sea. But it's not there.
Have you seen...
Oh, I was thinking the other way around, because I was figuring it was going back into the water. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm here, guys.
Oh yes, there is. Now, if you look at the whole, now I'll show you the outline of the entire star fort here now in a sec. So see here.
Let it load. It's going to take a second.
Oh, wow.
I don't see it yet. So.
Can I say something? May I speak?
Gigantic.
It's still taking time. It hasn't done it for me yet, so don't.
Oh, sorry.
What's up, Tess?
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, I wasn't sure.
I was literally ignoring you. Sorry.
Can I give my? No, I know. Thank you. Can I give my 2 cents?
Yes, please.
Or 3.
This is really amazing. Thank you. It's super, super cool. I think from what you were showing, the Polygonal blogs, and looking around, like you said, Peru and they're really everywhere. They're in Greece. I've seen them in Greece, in Russia, Japan, in South America. I have a feeling, I'm going to dare say, that this was part of Atlantis. But my calculations are not as far back as some. I think that Atlantis sank, from my research, between 6,000 years ago, and the last part of Atlantis, what's known as Atlantis, 3,600 years ago, with the Venus events, with the Mycenaeans or the Minoans. That was, if you include that as Atlantis, and I think that's why they're so amazing. And I think that cataclysms have covered them, and like you were just showing, this half of it is missing. I think it's just all the earthquakes and floods, and there's been many floods, and just numerous cataclysms. Even like the last 2,000 years, I've been doing research on comets and the amounts
we know 535 was disastrous too.
Yeah, they're just ongoing. They have been happening. So I think they're not really that old, because you wouldn't be able to see anything at all, with all this destruction in so many thousands of years. But that's what I would say. And I think that they were low, and like you said, the underground chambers, just like old megalithic sites, they were survival bunkers to survive the radiation and the extreme lightning and all the crazy super charged environment that people were living through. And let's see what else. I was going to ask you if you have found any stone circles. Any stone circles close by? Oh, yeah, that's like a pyramid in there in Spain, right?
Yeah, this is the one between Spain and France.
That's the one that they found the highway. Yeah, they were digging. Yep. Okay. Now this is the argument. Just in case, we're going to get to some questions from the audience too. I think a list coming up here. I'll give it over to you in about 2 minutes here, Rick. But they said, and this is true. Okay, this is the thing that freaks me out, is that the workers built that pyramid just 'cause, and they diverted the road around it just 'cause. No, there's really nothing else. They say that that's literally it. They were just having fun one day and decided to build a pyramid. It's not real, guys. Don't worry about it. Haha, moving on. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
That's the same, Neil. That's the same thing that if you look in
you see the road
Appalachian Mountain.
Yeah. Because they were going to drive right through the pyramid.
This earth piled up against it. You can see it was piled up against it.
Anyway, go ahead there.
Tsunami. Anyways, thank you. So bye-bye.
There's another little
Appalachian Mountains. There's a bunch of pyramids, and roads go right past them. You can see them. They're all over, and this is the oldest mountains in the world. That's what they're saying. So, just interesting. Thank you.
Here's an interesting one. This is a pyramid in the Neil in Ireland. They tell us They tell us it's a folly.
Oh, I am a folly.
Yeah,
I am the Neil. I've got to go to this place. What are you doing? I'm going to the Neil.
A lot of the unusual structures in Ireland, they tell us, for example, they are follies, that they were built during the so-called famine. And they were, it was just to give local men work so they could pay them. But this one here is the top of a very unusual step pyramid in Ireland. Now, nobody's allowed near this thing.
Why?
Well, because of the ghost that haunts it.
Because, I mean, as far as I know, it's only from there to there, and what would stop me?
Yeah.
It's England. You don't have guns, so I'll get wrestled by a cow?
What I mean is, you're not allowed to explore. Like, you can go and you can sit and you can have a picnic on it. But
you're not allowed to go and take a pic to it. Okay, that's fair.
You can't go digging, poking around. Yeah.
That's fair.
But it's interesting where it is. Also, I found more buried star forts in Ireland. If I can just find the other one there now, was one central. Let me see if I can find it. It was up in Meath.
By the way, Neil, it's been not many questions, unless Duffy has picked up a few at the beginning. Mostly it's been astonishment.
Oh, well, that makes our jobs a bit easier.
Unusual up in Northern Ireland.
But we still love you if you guys have any questions. There's more coming up, by the way. I don't know if there's pyramids in Canada, by the way. If there are pyramids in Canada, totally awesome. Whoa! Charlemont Fort. Where is this?
Yeah.
It looks like it's behind someone's house.
It is. It's in Northern Ireland, and the only person who can actually see this, other than Google Earth, is the guy who lives in that house. When you do a street view, which I'll do now for you to show you.
You guys have walls around everything, don't you?
Right. So you can see that's his house up there, and you can see nothing else. It's just hidden. This whole thing. I've taken the time to go around this on Street View. You know, I've gone around the whole thing, and I keep looking over the wall. You can see nothing. It's only when you go up here you see there she is.
Wow, literally that's a star fort. He might not even know it's there.
That's possible, I suppose.
Well, I mean,
no, he probably knows.
No, there's a wall. There's a wall. You can see
it.
the wall. Yeah. Sorry, I like, how sometimes you don't see it until there's a drought, and then
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
you just don't care. You're like, oh, what's that in the backyard? Who cares? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just an old culvert pipe or an old. Oh yeah, I mean, you'll find an old septic system if you want to go digging. You don't want to go digging, so.
Well, you're bringing the archaeologist out in me, and I definitely want to go get some shovels and go start poking around and start looking at star forts around here in Michigan, or there has to be one by the Detroit River.
Here, right at Fort Howe, right here in right down the coast from me in the mouth of the St. John River. But now I'm wondering what it was like in the old days. And someone else was mentioning pyramids in Canada. So I don't know if did you mention that, or did I see that, or did you? Someone,
Neil, other people.
Someone brought it up, and I thought that you had mentioned it.
I mentioned lines. He was showing us the lines. The lines run all the way up into Nova Scotia.
Yeah, sorry, I had marked down there as big.
Cosmos, can you please show us that? Remember when you were showing us before the show started? That language that was that's in the islands.
It was a surprise.
Oh,
okay.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Gotta get there though. That's awesome.
It was awesome. We definitely have to see that again. So
what's up? Wait. What's up with these zigzags though?
I have no idea. I just found them and I thought I'd mark them.
What's 3 or 4 levels of them, huh?
Yeah. You see, this is it. You see, as I go poking around, and as I see things, I mark them.
Then you see other things, and then you see other things.
Yeah, and I just... there's more, look.
That's beautiful. Wow. The whole world is open for discovery. Thank you for showing us there's so much more to discover.
Actually, that might be, and I'm not making any... I mean, just as something that I might do. Well, no, that was kind of weird. You're crossing a river, right, and you're blocking it off. Sometimes you would put posts up, and you would, in the middle of the winter when it's frozen over, you would run your nets underneath, and that way you would ice fish without having to fish. But it's totally illegal, so I don't know. But it doesn't look like a river. It looks like a sort of swampy area.
This was Shiriako. Let me just double check what this one was before I go to the next thing that I do want to show you. Oh yes, sorry. This is a star fort, another star fort in Japan.
Shirokaku.
Yeah.
Wow, I pronounced that correctly. I was just making that up. Shirokaku.
There's the big one, and the other one is close by up here.
That's the very center of that.
Go a bit slower because, yeah. We had Brighton on for a minute. He was on. Now he's gone. And by the way, Heather, I see you there.
Earlier.
I'm
I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy called Bruce Bedlam.
Bruce Bedlam? Sounds crazy.
He invented the Bedlam cube.
Sorry.
It's kind of...
I have not heard of him.
Bedlam. And what Bruce did is Bruce has been studying Stonehenge for 30-odd years.
76 people. And
Pardon
what
me?
did Bruce... Sorry, I was whispering. There's 76 people here. I'm blown away. Anyway, please continue.
Okay. So Bruce reckoned Stonehenge, I'm just showing you the video there now, that Stonehenge was actually, they used stone the way we would use modern steel girders. And in fact, it was to support a building. And that building, of course, was star-shaped. I have the video playing there now on screen. You'll see now in just a moment what way Bruce reckoned the actual structure was. And to this day, when we talk about a building, we talk about the hang of the building as the hang of the roof. That's stone, henge. Henge means hang, so you hang the roof on the stones.
Oh. Well, that actually makes a
Wow.
lot of sense in the sense that you would have the timber-like protections that we were discussing earlier with regards to how to avoid getting struck by lightning. And you would have a roof over the structure, just like we noticed that in the Colosseum, they couldn't figure out what was going on there. They actually had masts stuck into the side, and they had draped cloth over top of it for shade. So the same thing is in this case. I mean, it could have been open. It could have been closed. It wouldn't make any difference.
Well, if you look at this structure here, you can see that the timbers will take any charge that would accumulate and straight down into earth. But it was separating those charges from, say, the roof charges would be coming to separate points. And I think that the big stones inside the trilithiums, they call them, they may have actually built up a charge, and the tops of them may have glowed, which would have been awe-inspiring to see that at the time.
That is actually, I've stated that before, so yeah, I totally agree. In fact,
I mean, that would really make
Coriolis, what's it called, St. Elmo's fire kind of way that we have showed before on the edges of like observatories on the tops of mountains, still have those.
Yeah.
But,
just for the audience.
so this wouldn't be a large star fort. This would be a smaller star fort right here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the structure itself, I'm just trying to see, there was another video. Let me just see if I can find the other
However,
video.
let's be fair though, the star-like structure of it is he added that in. It's not required for the design. I mean, if you see, it's
right.
Sort of.
Every post he has.
Well, it goes back to what Neil keeps talking about is spherical shapes dissipate a charge in an even fashion.
It's also a good place for protection. Because, I mean, these people would be scared out of their minds, especially if you had an area of the land what was, for example, let's say that an area was of a different charge than the area around it. Say you build a structure there for that reason. Now, it does different things when subjected to, like, if most of the land is negative, that area becomes positive. It might provide protection during horrible storms. And we noted that and therefore went there for protection. You get my meaning? Now, that doesn't mean this is true at all.
Neil, the posts are Prat 56, so it was at least symbolic. So, just saying.
Oh, I wasn't arguing the posts. I just meant the way that he was putting the walls on those angles to make the star. I just thought that was kind of forced.
Let me just point out to you, Neil. Everywhere you see a post end where those stones are, they are there today. Those stones are actually there.
The 56 poles, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce did not put in where those poles. He did not put a stone where there isn't one.
Oh no! I just meant the walls having that weird angle, like where he puts the star at the bottom. That's all I meant. I didn't mean the. Yeah, this part here.
Yeah. So, and I mean, but so, as you say, the interesting thing about this, it would have allowed the community to be sheltered electrically. I mean, the stories in England of King George slaying the dragon. Of course, I believe they're the same. The same dragon was the same dragons that the Oriental people, Asian people speak of. They were the plasma structures visible in the sky, and as they came down, and they ribboned across the sky and did what they did. So, Ireland also has its ancient myths along the same lines. And we have Devil's Tower. Our minor version of Devil's Tower is what we call the Giant's Causeway.
Yes.
And there's another one on the way to Scotland. There's a little island on the way to Scotland, same thing. And there's another version somewhere, I think in Hungary, and another one in Poland, if I'm correct, where they've got this hexagonal.
All over the scablands of the United States as well, and of course, obviously, Devil's Tower in Wyoming.
Yeah, yeah, which was the one from Close Encounters, which I thought was interesting.
Yes.
Oh, and I'd like to add that most everybody in the general chat or live chat seems to be either dumbfounded or they're getting confirmations from
Renegade TPs. Yes.
what Cosmos is saying.
Göbekli Tepe also in a circle, and again, was it buried? They say, oh, it was definitely buried deliberately. Well, it's only buried deliberately because you didn't see sediment layers. What if the rocks just fell from the frickin' sky?
By the gods, it was buried, yes.
By the gods. Bum, 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 bum. Sorry.
So, I mean, there's an ancient, if you look here, see here in our, sorry, my screen updated fast
it's going actually pretty quickly right now, and I think everyone's cool. I tried to get rid of some stuff to lower my memory worth.
We're told that in Göbekli Tepe that there are animal bones within the stone, but what we're not told is there's human bones in there as well.
Right.
So that was an event where things got busted up and deposited there.
That's true. That would have been
that would make sense.
It's like, why are we seeing broken bones
the old
everywhere?
Stories.
Yeah.
See this continental shelf drop-off point, Ireland and England, where it meets the Atlantic. So apparently all of this used to be above land, and it was called Doggerland.
Yes.
Doggerland, yeah.
Right. And then out here, I suppose, was supposed to be High Brazil was out here.
High Brazil, yeah.
Yeah. Now the Faroe Islands, they're still there.
Featuring prominently. Oh crap. Okay. No crap.
Oh.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Okay. Whew. I accidentally hit the wrong thing, and I thought I was going to share my screen. I'm just going to go away now. Right. So High Brazil, featured prominently in Eric the Viking. This is not happening. This is not happening. Don't worry. We're not actually going to drown. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So, in fact, just on movies, etc., and the references, all of the references I've noticed in movies down through the years, the one which caught my attention first was the movie Clash of the Titans. When I was a kid, I watched that movie.
Yes.
I remember at the end, I think I recall you saying this in the past, Neil. Did you say at the end of the movie, they talked about the gods leaving and going to the stars? And that stayed with me as a child. And when I heard the Electric Universe, the story, if you will, of the Electric Universe, and I recalled that movie and that part in particular.
And the gods becoming stars as well. Sorry, I had to add that.
Absolutely. And then, of course, when I remembered then, the Medusa turned people to stone.
Yes.
And, of course, the biblical story of Sarah being...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, it immediately comes to mind.
Right. So, again, I'm a builder and I do experiments. I have my own little workshop here. I've been building. I do all sorts of building trades, all of them. And I have been doing so for a long, long time. So I've been doing some little experiments myself. Not quite up to, say, Billy Elverton's standard, or but I'll get there eventually. I have a couple of things built that I'm going to do. I have some videos done, but I haven't anything worth broadcasting just yet. I have done the experiments, but I haven't got them filmed correctly yet. But what I've been trying to do is trying to see if I can turn turn bone into stone with flesh. That's what I'm going to try and do, to see if I can actually create a fossil, if you will.
High energy electrical discharge will do it.
Yeah, but
I can tell you right now, I deal with high voltage electricity and arcing into bone with fractal branding. And I don't know if you've tried it yet before, but you can hook up a transformer and electrocute the bone, and it stinks really bad, burning bone.
I suspect that you're going to have to put some earth or something similar, some material underneath of this, so that the electrical. I don't think you'll be able to do it by itself, just to the bare bone itself. It'll have to have water. It'll have to have material underneath it to be able to propagate this.
Even when we were here, just looking at Billy Elverton's work, or There was some other people who have done electric fossilization, not just talked about it, and made dolomite, for example, out of just sand type of stuff. So we obviously see lightning does this all the time. So it's not. It's a matter of basically degree, duration, and frequency, I guess.
Conditions, water.
Well, as I said,
Well, and conditions, I guess, of course, environmental conditions. But
it's not just bone I want to do. I basically want to do flesh and bone.
Flesh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm actually trying to do. And maybe some
like
plant matter.
get some steaks. Just friggin' fry them.
T-bones.
Yeah, just buy a cow. I'm not going to have a cow. I'm going to electrocute this sucker and try to turn it into a stone.
Don't have a cow, man.
The issue that we had with when we talk about dinosaurs and we find dinosaur bones, and as we see, fossils are incredibly rare, but that we do find lots of pieces of things.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I have 2 pieces of dinosaur bones with me, and that means that like lots of things. Oh yeah, they're all over this area. Because what do you mean all over this area? And I think about this layer, and then I just remove 6 inches. And there would be another layer filled with this stuff, and just move 6 inches and another layer. And I keep on thinking, over this entire area, that means there was a bunch of animals, sort of like bison, grazing along, doing animal-like things that were lifted up, ripped apart, turned to stone, and dropped around the area. That's horrifying. So I can see why they would like protection from those types of things.
Well, the other aspect that I find fascinating with the whole EU model and society at large is, it seems to be that there's a desire to protect people's intellect from the concept, and it's the reasoning behind it I find interesting. That, would people be able to cope, do you think, en masse? I mean, I'm sure this was a shock to everybody here when we initially considered, as I said, well, for me it was Velikovsky, Worlds of Collision. But from then on, I mean, how did this impact you, just your own psyche?
Is that a question or a rhetorical one?
Yeah, can I throw that to everybody here? Like, how, when you actually considered that we...
You're interviewing us.
Well, it's just it's something that, and when I sat down and considered it, it was so profound and stunning. And I've spoken to Ted Holden, a very nice guy, very fond of the chap, and he discusses the Ganymede hypothesis with Troy McLaughlin, which essentially points out what's possible.
You just actually reached out to me today to go, hey, can I get in contact with people from the Thunderbolts? I was like, I'll help you out, Ted. Don't worry.
Yeah, great guy, very interesting. And
well, I'd like to answer that quickly. I was looking for truth, and I think I found it in the electric universe theories, that they're the most truthful group of theories out there at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people are definitely looking our direction, and I wanted to say first, you asked the question, and I'm thinking about it. And to me, it solidifies what you're showing, solidifies a lot of what we have been talking about collectively as a group.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I've found the as you say, the honesty in the group is incredible, and also I think the integrity is even more impressive. And I find that there's a lot of things, for example, that have been said that could be vilified or poo-pooed. They don't. I really like the way you guys say, well, look, we will consider anything, and it is considered.
Except for Duffy saying to Greg, no more baby killing stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean, on top.
for me, it was like
James.
For me, it was like, oh, this now makes everything else makes sense. I mean, I was looking around and seeing nothing but catastrophes everywhere and anything,
and anomalies.
Finally, someone gave me a reason to why that was. So for me, it was like enlightening.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're proposing that all of this is to preserve thoughts, in our memory. All of these structures and everything. Is that what I'm getting at, or you're getting at?
Not really. No, more that, just for me, on a personal level, even considering these concepts, it's a big ask for a lot of people. It was a big ask for me, because I'd done what I'm sure many of you have done. I'd read and studied Stephen Hawking and Einstein and Roger Penrose and you name them, blah blah blah. I read them, I studied them all.
Explain to you right now the Big Bang Theory, right now, like front to back.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to figure all that stuff.
As I knew it in 20 years ago.
I nearly turned myself insane trying to figure that stuff out. I think that's what happened. And when the EU model came along, and it didn't just seem sane, it is sane.
It resonates.
Yeah, but it's actually sane. It's not, like when somebody tries to explain quantum, you
that's
name it.
That's insane.
It is insane. And they'll tell you, we don't understand it either.
We just think that, you can see the problem where you take, instead of just using what we consider variables, like if I use an equation, I know every single point in that entire equation, okay? Mm-hmm. I could throw a constant in there, okay, or something. That's the only thing that I might be making up, because there could be a laminar flow constant or something like that. But
we can't even. Sorry, Neil.
Let me just
can't
finish.
even. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So at the end of the day, though, one of the things that is odd is that by taking things away, like moving a variable or moving this thing that we just call B, for example, and we just go, okay, and think about it abstractly. This is where a lot of these problems come up, and it's been pointed out by Stephen Carruthers himself. No, and Dr. Pierre Robitaille, where they go, no, that doesn't apply to that. That only applies to this. And then if you remove this, suddenly you've taken it out of context. It's no longer what you think it is, because the T there does not represent the T over there. Like it's like confusing matter and mass or something.
Best explanation I ever had was when I heard that, mathematics is a language. And just like English, you can tell lies in English.
No, because the Earth's electric field is pushing against that electric field, and there will be a response, and it will not go forever, because real life is different than that. Physics. You're not ideal.
Get rid of cause and effect.
Yes, exactly. Once you divorce cause and effect, it's over.
Well, I just wanted to mention that, we can't even image an atom at the moment. The technology hasn't even reached the point where we can truly image an atom. So how are we going to find out that there's something smaller than electrons and call them quarks and bosons and Higgses? And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is, and it's what's worse than it being ridiculous. I think it's restrictive. It restricts the general population from even attempting to try to figure this stuff out. So they lock themselves away, which I think means our populations are more prone to manipulation. Whereas when you open your mind up to the EU idea, and you start to look around you, and you start to notice, well, hey, that's strange. All these mountain ranges I'm looking at all over the planet kind of look like, dendritic figures. How did that happen? If they're formed the way we're told they're formed in our geography classes in school, that they're pushed up from below, etc., and subduction and all of this jazz, why would they take that structure? In science, I remember asking questions in science class when I was a young kid, and the answers I got were bonkers. The answers were essentially, just accept what's written in the book. That's the answer. That'll get you through the exam. Right. But that's not an education. That's an indoctrination.
Yes.
And it's intellectual abuse, because, for me, I even, as I said to you, I had an internet radio show for about 10 years, and I've interviewed people all over the world. And at one stage, I interviewed a guy. He was actually a very nice guy, and he was a flat earther. Now, I'm not a flat earther, and I know there's a lot of people are, but I'm not. And I like this guy. And the reason I wanted to interview him about the flat earth was that he still, he was worth talking to because he was calm, he was cool, he was collected, he was together, and his ideas were actually formed very well. And I said to myself, well, if I can't actually, prove that the Earth is round, then do I deserve the spot I had kind of built for myself? Now I feel I can prove it's not, it's not flat. So, and I don't want to get into a flat Earth conversation with you guys. I'm just saying the point is that the mindset is open in this group, and I really enjoy listening to you, and I love what you're doing. I love what the EU guys are doing, and as I said, to be able to have these conversations, even if we're wrong, I'm very happy to accept I may be wrong about everything I've spoke about here tonight.
What are you doing there, Duffy?
It's me again. I'm sorry. It's a nervous. I'm just scraping my. I think with my fingers.
But I mean, even if it comes to the point where we're wrong or we're all wrong, I think that's okay. But it's only fine. In a group like this that we're actually going to be able to find out if we're wrong. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? That if we're not in a group like this with dynamic people willing to think outside the box, we're never actually going to find
a challenge. I mean. Even though I said, I don't know if you're actually going to be talking. I mean, I think I know what you're going to say. I thought that's what you were going to say. And I was like watching and we had a little conversation there. And I even said, I think I know what this is about. Have you seen a few of these videos here? And you go, oh yeah, I've seen those. And I was like, okay, I think I know what this is going to be about. He's not going to show me anything new. And, but I deliberately always fight against that natural instinct, like whenever those things come on, because I am always surprised. Buddy has shown me that. Like the reason why, I mean, I'm sitting there, it's like, no, I'm not into astrology. And then it goes, Heather will go, have you looked at this? And I'm like, oh, maybe I should just take a step back. But that's but there are certain things, however. Well, just give me a second. At the end of the day, though, one of the things is just making sure that we at least recognize what the laws of physics are, and when we start reaching beyond them, and keeping things within the realm of what we know. And there's a truth to the fact that there is a lot more energy out there than we say that there is, and that alone is different in philosophy than the energy deficient world of basically empty space and solid masses.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So if I could shout out to Heather real quick, she actually did ask for Cosmos email. So if there's ways to contact you, Cosmos, directly from anybody on the call here, shout out your contact.
livingrobotproductions@gmail.com. That's livingrobotproductions@gmail.com.
Awesome.
The living robot from Hobbes' Leviathan. I'm sure many of you will get that.
Well, there's a lot of people that would like to see those in the swamp writings.
Sorry.
Eastern Washington, in the eastern United States.
I think Heather wants to talk about those probably as well. I think she might be on the chat. She might not be though.
There might be some people who can actually decipher or look at them, so that's why they were interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
Where's what did I call them? The glyphs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, what I can actually do, I'm sure there's a way I can pass the Google map that I have. I think there's a way of saving it and exporting it so that you can actually, all the little tags I have on my Google Earth can appear on your Google Earth.
Oh, I'm sure that can be done.
Yeah.
Probably there's a cut and paste feature.
That would be so cool.
I think there's a way. It's an export. If I export it,
then we can just throw it up on the Discord or something.
Star hunters together.
Yeah, there's definitely.
Actually do. Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to just play around with it, like on group calls.
And I think what we can do is we can keep adding our own, markers to it. So it would just keep expanding.
Yeah. Oh well, then we just throw it right into the put it on the Discord then, Rick, and we'll just put a file there, and then we'll allow everyone to update it.
Oh my God!
They can just the whole Discord of 200 people can go nuts.
I was wondering if anybody in the live chat knows how to Google Earth to pull all the pins into one file.
I have a buddy who can do augmented reality, and he could do this all on augmented reality, so you could see it on your phone.
Right, sorry, I'm just looking for the thing. I found it there again, so they're on the screen there now. That's the one, isn't it, that we were showing? Yeah, because that's the one, the plain one's there. Yeah, that's the one, wasn't it?
Yes, this is the one, but zoom in, please. Yes. Yep.
Amazing.
The one that looks like languages as you move around on it.
Yeah.
So that feels a little Egyptian. Those glyphs feel kind of vaguely like what Egyptian hieroglyphs.
No, they remind me of runes.
Yeah, they're runic, and they're like kind of close to runic, close to a pictographic, hieroglyphic, you know, like Ohm.
Skyrim belongs to the Nords.
Or yeah, I can see runes for sure.
Maybe it's Klingon.
Could slightly be cuneiform type.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, that really nailed me. I mean, maybe they're musical notes. I don't know. I mean, is that notes on music? You know,
it's a love letter.
Maybe it says "Get off my property." Who knows?
What I'd like to know is how you found them, because I've been looking for ancient tree roots in eastern Washington.
It has to do with wine.
I was looking for star forts manually. I manually look for star forts. You see, I just like to sit. I have a big computer screen, and I used to open a can of beer, and I just sit back and I just cruise across the planet, nice and slow, looking for star forts methodically. And I saw this, and I thought, "Huh, that's funny, that's odd." And then I just kept zooming in, and then I saw more and more of it, and I thought, "Wow!" So I just happened across it, literally.
Although, to be fair, my first instinct is that it is us looking at clouds, wanting to see what we want to see, but still, it is very interesting.
Yeah, there's just too much of it, though.
Oh, I'm not denying the absolute scale and weirdness of what I'm looking at. However, my first instinct is that there's a natural reason for that. My instinct. But then I'm sitting there going, well, some of these don't look like that, though. Like, who marked them off? Are these just like, and when did they do this? And of course, just looking through the New Earth catalog, we're going out and looking at those wonderful straight lines that go straight across continents. I mean,
probably fish farming.
Who made these?
I mean, look, you know, there's all these blank sections as well. I just don't get it. I mean, this is a total mystery to me in that regard.
Well, they have to finish their book. They're not done yet. They didn't write it all down. I mean, maybe this part was like, and thank you very much for not killing us all. This is a lovely place. Signed the people of 2,700 years ago. We're cool now, right? Question mark.
I don't know. Like, are these constellations? Are these, you know?
It's just this because of their
I'm calling it. They're all squattermen. All squattermen.
It is possible. It is possible to imagine that these are that you could run this through a program, because you could get pretty good black and white copies of this if you wanted to just look and then transfer it to black and white, and then run it through a linguistic program and say, can you find any correlations, any symbols that repeat, and see what starts happening.
Well, back where you were before, I saw Gary wrote his name there.
I saw that too. He's one of those vault dwellers from Fallout 3. Well, Gary 27? I don't know all the Gary. There's going to be people who are like watching, who play Bethesda games, and are going to go,
it was up a little higher and to the right.
I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to look here, how do I export this? There is definitely a way of doing it.
Somebody will help us.
Hmm.
Don't worry too much. We'll find it.
I'll figure it out. I will figure it out.
I think it's probably that tab right up there that says, that looks like a copy right beside your print button. Like if you go over to your left, there's a print button, and then there's a tab. Yeah, what's the middle? Is that a copy? Not that one, the other one. Right in the middle.
Search results.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And
There's a,
the current search results.
hang
Okay.
on, KML. Yeah, it's a KML file. That's so I have to export this as a KML file. That's what it is.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
There you are.
But somebody, yeah,
It has
because
to
like
be up there in tools, right?
Well,
Export.
is
KML.
anyone like
Brian is back.
9 years old that can help us out? If we have a 9-year-old, that'd be great. Help us out here.
Well, a 19-year-old just joined.
Can we? Can someone help us use Instagram? Or how do I share a picture?
Or better yet, it was a 15-year-old that deciphered the Mayan. So that's what we need is a 15-year-old hacker.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not too hard to they think outside the box, and we are slowed down by our thinking. But you know what? At least we're trying to keep it fresh, and not be too hard on ourselves when we show our age. I don't know.
So, Cosmos, how long have you been working on this the Star Fort search?
Oh well, I mean, I don't know if you can see my panel there at the side. I mean, these are all the star forts I had turned off that I hadn't actually got turned on while I was searching around because there's just so many of them around the planet.
I see that. I know. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So I mean, if I randomly I'll randomly click one and let's see where it is. I just okay.
Here we go.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see now. I'll have to zoom out to see where the heck that is. That's Germany, I think, is it?
Hockenfeld in Spandau.
Yeah, it looks like Germany to me.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I found in Germany actually, which was interesting.
Huh.
Well, probably
I really
because
had
we
no idea all these existed.
bombed the living crap out of the rest of them. Well, remember they didn't think that to conventional view, to the conventional wisdom, there's nothing incredibly special about them. So we shouldn't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just forts based on cannon fire, according to the conventional idea. But clearly, some of these are older than dirt. I mean, literally, the dirt had been removed, and they're like Fort Louisburg. I had no idea that was cut in half by like when that happened.
Oh, here was an interesting one. This is Dover Castle in England. And everybody talks about the might of Dover historically, blah, 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 how amazing it was, yada, yada. And I was looking at Dover Castle.
England, because I'm from Canada, a loyal colony, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
And Cosmos?
I noticed this little detail here, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. There's Dover Castle with a star fort detail. And then I zoomed in.
If Tess could say something, I heard.
Yeah, thank you. Try on Google Earth, clicking help, and then search for export.
Yeah, oh, I will. No, I'll figure that out there, Tess. No, absolutely, no problem. I figured it out.
Yeah, you should tell you how to do it. All right.
What have I got there? Oh,
Thank
yeah. So there's there's Dover Castle.
With
but
a
then
point,
to the left of it, there's a huge star fort complex, which nobody ever talks about. And I mean huge. This is, like, again, this is all cut down into the rock. This is into the bedrock. Like, if you look in here, like, see that shadow that's been cast? That's not soil. This is not soil that's been scooped out. That's cut into the bedrock.
Like the old moat that was around it.
Yeah. But, like, a moat doesn't explain these things.
Yeah,
because
I was going to say my first instinct would be World War I emplacement, but at the same time...
Yeah, but see, it's on top of a hill. You don't dig a moat on top of a hill. How are you going to fill it when you're on top of a hill?
Got a point.
Right? So, like, nothing adds up.
Where's the body of water as compared to these two particular sites? Are they near water?
Oh yeah, there's the sea right here.
Oh,
like, yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
well, that's a very
seeing a lot of patterns developing here.
Yeah.
And it looks like that might only be part of the complex because the rest of it's been cut off by the ocean.
Yeah.
Right. Another feature is that there's more than one at each site. There are multiple star forts per site.
Well, no. I mean, maybe this is just the edge of one, and the town of Dover literally cut it off. Like, this used to be like they put them on points.
Oh, Helsinki. Here's a perfect example. Here's Helsinki.
Is sinking.
Yeah, you know where they had the Helsinki Olympics. Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at all the little islands, if you zoom in here, well, you'll see starfort structures right down from here. See, you'll see right down here. And it's as if they built across island to island. You see here a little detail, here a little bit. And when you zoom out to see the whole thing, let me just see if we can zoom in.
It's still there. Like I can see parts of the coast.
It's translating as if the island was one, as if these 4 islands, if you will, used to be one island. Do you see what I'm saying?
And do you notice the other very interesting thing, if that was the case? If this is true, if you stay right there and look at that, there is an X in the middle, right in the middle of this starfort. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is that it would have to, if it was created by water or anything like that, it would have to literally be a river going through it. But rivers can't cross each other. That's very indicative of an electrical excavation, then, if that's the case.
Yep.
And that's horrifying, because that means that starfort was there at the time, and it got hit.
And it got decimated. Sorry, I know. Malta. Wait, you see Malta. Oh my God.
Now that one I do know has a big base that's megalithic underneath of it. That's what I remember from the
island of Malta.
Is really cool. I mean, it has those tracks in it and crap too.
Well, let me just show you the starforts here first. I don't think I have them marked. I think there was that many. I didn't bother marking them. I just didn't need to. It was just
go
right.
Malta. The whole thing's a starfort. Good to know.
Malta, 8 billion later, right? So
it's literally swimming in starforts here, up to your neck with starforts.
So starfort. It's everything you see. You think, look, starfort. It's just the whole thing is basically starfort. See, starfort across here. It's just starforts. Now, interestingly, if you look, let's see, if we go to pardon my French. I did have this marked. There's another one that was cut in 2 around the edge. Let me just see. I had it here somewhere. Sorry, where's the cliffs? Let me find the cliffs of Malta, and you'll see. Malta has, if you look at the landmass of Malta, let's see, if I come around here, and if I come in this way, I think, if you look at the landmass of Malta, you'll notice that the settlements are all on the tops of hills, which is very unusual. Normally, we don't settle on the tops of hills. We normally have our settlements and build our houses in valleys. But the reason I think these are all on top of the hills is because I think this used to be completely settled, and it's been excavated. So if you look at Malta, anybody go to look at Malta on Google Earth, you'll notice that, see, that's on top of the hill, top of the hill, top of the hill.
Now we're going to have to slow down, let it load.
Oh, sorry. But basically what I'm saying is, if you look at Malta, you'll notice that all the settlements are on the tops of mini plateaus, which does not make sense, because your water is in the valley and you have to pump your water up. Normally we build in the valley and let the water flow down to us.
Which is smart. Well, you got a point there. Tess was right on that point. It might be building to survive tsunamis.
That is possible, but when you look at the land, if you look at the land, this part of the island was clearly electrically excavated, whereas the other part wasn't.
Looks like the Badlands in a way.
Yeah, look at the structures. Look at the structures all over here. No structures here. Pocket of structure, pocket of structure, pocket of structure, pocket of structure. So to me, that looks like this part of the island was ravaged completely, and the other half was left alone. This half goes up and down the topology, and this half is completely different to this half.
That's true. I can't deny that. Now, where are the, if I might be so bold, the famous cart tracks? Do you know what section they're on?
Yeah. Where were they now? I think that was one there. No, that was a starfort. Sorry, that was a fort that was being excavated. I think it was over here. I'd have to ask.
So were you saying that that the starforts, the people who started making the starforts, all originated out of England, and then it happened once or twice already, or and then they're now they're conquering the earth again via
well, if you look at where Malta got half of the damage here. See here through here, Malta got half of the island got damaged, but the rest seem to have survived. But the people who control the earth, the people who still control the earth, effectively, well, except for Ireland, but say from England, France, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, like these are the people who are still more or less in control of everything that happens on the planet. Pretty much. I mean, before America became big and whatnot, but up to that point in history.
In an argument, that would be the, I described it before, like the battle is between the royals and the families, the richest families of the United States have been allowed at least to now participate at the table.
Something along those lines, I think, as well. But
London
is.
Let's not get conspiratorial too much, because obviously that's not the focus. But still,
there's one for you. If you look here, Nicosia.
No, but you're saying Europe was a survival zone. What I hear you saying.
Yeah, it still is.
It wasn't messed up.
Europe was. Yeah, it was.
Yes, what I'm saying is, not only was Europe a survival zone. Well, as you can see, I think Spain got a good lick there. Spain got toasted. Ireland got a little toasting at the top where the Giant's Causeway is, but pretty much the rest of Ireland was okay, except for the bogs. Ireland used to be 90 or 85% bogs with oak trees. And when I was a kid in school, again, they told me that, as the old oak trees fell down, new oak trees grew on top of them, and that's how the bogs built up. But I found out later on, as I learned more about wood and building, new oak trees don't grow on old, dead oak trees. They don't like it. They will not grow. So bogs should not exist.
Well, you have bogs in Ireland like we have tundra and stuff in northern Canada, because I think that when water flowed down and completely swathed the whole area, it just hasn't really drained out.
I mean, bogs are so obvious in Ireland. You can actually see, here's Google Earth, and I can just literally point anywhere. And
I can take a look at them from here.
I mean, there's bog.
Literally, now I understand why you guys are so murderous, because, you would have no problem. You just go in there. It's like, I don't like you. Stab, throw you in a ditch. They'll never find you ever. Actually, was there a story about that where they found a body in a bog and they pulled the body out and this guy went and confessed to her murder, but they found out that she actually died 2,000 years ago? But she's still perfectly preserved, so he confessed to murdering someone he would have been fine if he just shut his mouth.
Well, there was a fascinating one in Ireland. They found Egyptian papyrus in a bog.
What?
They found Egyptian papyrus in a bog.
Well, they found cocaine in mummies, so let's not pretend. But yeah, go on. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're saying they don't know how bogs are formed? There's a lot of bogs around the world. Those are interesting. It's black soil, and they're worth a lot of it's worth money.
Yeah, but this is a humdinger. This is on phys.org, okay? From September the 6th, 2010.
You do what I do. Just save it, ready to rock and roll at any time.
Right. Egyptian papyrus found in ancient Irish bog. Okay? Now, what really blew their mind was it had the Fadanmore Psalter. If you read about this, like this, literally, you see, in Ireland, there's all sorts of stories here about, Scotland, Scotty being.
By the way, Egyptian. Rick, make sure the stream's still up. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Are we still streaming? Yeah.
No, I want to make sure we are, because I'm trying to get back to my screen on my dashboard, and it's not letting me in, which is good, but it's not dropping. So maybe the reason it was dropping was because Chrome's a pig. So, I'm just...
No, it's still going.
Okay, as long as it's good, well, we'll take some questions from the audience. Let me know if there's anything cool going on.
Cosmos, how do you say that name?
Can't see it.
Is it Regnal O'Floyan? Can you say
Regnal O'Floyan?
Oh my God.
There.
Yeah.
Ragnall O'Flynn.
Ragnall O'Flynn.
Yeah.
Oh, so I love the brogue so much. It's like butter.
There you go.
It's kind of funny because we actually have the oldest Newfoundlanders we have still sound identical to Irish. Like but obviously it's changed over there. But they were primarily Irish when they got there. It's so odd too that
Lord
the lands
Hunter
are the
and Jesus
same.
boy.
Yep.
Well, I think my accent is fairly easily understandable, I think, by a lot of people. A lot of people internationally don't seem to have a trouble understanding.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But there are many Irish accents that even I'd have trouble with.
I have a...
No, you're pretty mild.
Same with Scottish ones and English ones. Some of them are pretty heavy.
Yeah. Although I've been interviewing people internationally for so long on the internet that I've learned to kind of develop my language and my speech so that I'm fairly easy to understand, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're doing great.
Yes, you speak proper Queen's English.
I don't know if I've gone that far now. Careful. This is Irish.
Yeah. Let's not get too crazy here.
Neil and Cosmos, do you think you could repeat the amazing stuff you showed at the beginning before the recording? Like the Statue of Liberty fort, and maybe, I don't know if someone remembers which other ones we...
you're absolutely right.
That was really cool.
That was really good. But I don't want to lose that papyrus thing, though. So
okay. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. Because there was a lot of stuff that was covered at the beginning, Tess. And one of the points that you brought up, Cosmos, was the fact that there's red brick built on top of a lot of these structures. And I don't think you hit that home yet to the viewers.
Well, if you see
that's very telling.
Facebook, yes. I have a little Facebook page there called Star Forts. So feel free to check it out, and you can see all the pictures and images there. So you can see I've got some side by side. So there's the one in Hawaii, and here's the one up in Iceland. You see, I put them beside one another. There's the Statue of Liberty here.
Indeed.
With the excavations, and then there's the other one with the drawing. There's one that's cut in half in Barcelona. That's the top of a star fort.
What now? Is that a cliff?
Yeah.
Okay.
See the cars down here.
I figured it was a cliff, but when I'm looking at that cliff is that's not something that man took away, right?
No. In fact, I'll go to. I'll show you that one on Google Earth.
This is blowing my mind. Like, I have to reevaluate everything. I mean, we see evidence of this in some places, but I have never seen these wonderful star forts because of the haphazard nature of medieval forts. You weren't ever expected to be perfect or do the star thing. But
exactly
in this case, you can't deny that they were round structures. Like, I now know more about the Fortress Louisbourg than I ever did from a textbook.
And again, some of them are very ancient and very, very out of place, like in the middle of nowhere.
They're kind of ooparts, aren't they? They're out of place, yeah.
Well, like I said,
out of place artifacts.
Enigmas and ooparts or anomalies are the things that attracted me most to the Electric Universe, because the Electric Universe does seem, even just as a quick overview, plug so many holes on one pass without needing any science. Like, you can go, well, that makes sense why they found a skeleton in a coal seam. Well, that makes sense why they found
a wheel in a coal seam, or a bell in a coal seam.
Yeah, well, that all makes sense now because we know it fell from the air. So people were walking along going, oh, I'm just going to do oh my God, here's coal, dead, and you're dead, and that's where they find you.
I'm just trying to figure out where that. Oh, there it is. Sorry. There's that star fort in Barcelona there now. Yeah. Okay.
There it is. Look at that. Whoa.
That's all right. It's only when you turn.
Be damned.
You see.
So either the strongest of waves came at that basalt cliff like you wouldn't believe, or. And because because it's me, I'm already seeing some staircase etchings that would be like V-shaped trench, the half of V-shaped trench that looks like something that would be electrical.
So you see, when you look at it from the top, see, this is what I do. I go to the star fort first, and then once I find it from the top down, see that doesn't look like much from the top down.
No.
But once you go down a bit, you say, okay, now let's do the 3D thing. And suddenly you go, whoa, hold on a minute.
Tess, what was it you were saying about ancient worldwide cultures? The Atlanteans, maybe, or something like that?
I was wondering if you could go back to that one that was out in the desert with all the scalloping.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I think that was the first one.
I think it's Atlantis. I think it's definitely part of Atlantis. I mean, they were everywhere in the world.
The Atlantis culture, yeah.
Yeah, Atlanteans.
The antediluvian culture.
Yes, and they had amazing
antediluvian. That's a good term.
Building techniques.
If nothing else, prior to the catastrophe era. There it is.
Well, that's what it was, is the antediluvian culture that was known as Atlantis, that was probably centralized in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and had spread out worldwide from there. Yeah.
So everyone looking, this is
just
Google,
one ocean back then.
This is Google Earth, but actually it's Mars, as you can see. And this is
like
the side of the Valles Marineris Trench, as you can see. Right over there where the circle is, that's where the Curiosity rover is. And
no.
But anyway, this is where in Africa, is it?
No, I don't think it's Africa. It's I'm gonna have to zoom out to see where it is.
Middle East.
You made smoke of my ears, Neil.
Thank you.
I just keep marking these things. I do forget.
I do try. The Caspian Sea.
It's the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea area.
Well,
Middle East.
Isn't there supposed to be a structure in the Black Sea that's supposed to be like the Millennium Falcon or something? Saw that one too.
Is there any?
No,
is there any other ones?
I think.
Oh yeah, here was another one I found. This was
Iraq or Iran in the holy area, because that would be interesting as well. Ooh,
can you see that one?
I can.
Yeah.
Wow, how big is that?
Well, you got to be careful. Some of these are like made by military who like put stuff in the ground for fun purposes.
Yeah, I checked that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
But that's, you're right, because I did the same. I couldn't find anything on that one. As I said, I just left it as X marks the spot because I thought it was interesting.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Another one over here. Hex.
Little context.
This one was another weird one. And again, I look at the, there we go.
Out in the water as well?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I just had that marked Hex 4 because I didn't know what the hell it was.
No, that looks like it could be a silo.
Well, yeah, for nuclear missiles or something, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
missile
this
silo.
is former USSR territory. Who knows, right?
Oh yeah, well,
it looks like it's
I'm searching for Star Force. If I find other things that are interesting, I mark them.
Oh God, yes, no. This is I wouldn't. I'm not knocking it. I mean, I would look at it too, but you have to. If you don't question, you can never be sure. You have to at least give yourself the make sure you're not self-deluding. You don't want to be looking at clouds, faces in clouds.
The Chinese have been known to etch things on the ground out in the desert so that they can calibrate their viewing devices that they've put up in the orbiting the Earth.
You do know that probably every planet does that.
Well,
every planet.
That might
oh my God! Every nation.
Why that X was put down on the ground.
Planets do it too. But
I think the most convincing stuff you found is that shows erosion. I can't get over the fact that some of these structures are continued to be built and supported today, and some are completely ignored.
And some are in someone's backyard, and no one ever knew it was there.
Yeah, and it's a variety of.
Like Pat said, she was looking to buy one, or someone said that. Someone texted on here.
Yeah, so this is it. This is India.
Here, this is in the middle of India.
This is, by the way, if I ever wanted to think of India as totally green and not filled with people, this looks beautiful.
Yeah, and again, this is in the middle of nowhere.
Cosmos, do you know about the Great Wall of India?
Yes.
The Great Wall of India?
Okay. Yep. And
apparently I did not know.
There's actually a bigger, I'll show you. I actually have it on here.
I knew about the 7 pagodas that went into the ocean, and there's only one left standing. I know that one.
No, but there is actually a Great Wall of India that partitions India. Like, it's very ancient too.
So do you think the strike is right there in what is that, Russia? Is that the point of the strike?
I think that was the biggest one I found. I think that's a single. I think that was a single. I don't call it a strike, but I say that was a single event.
And then, so correct me if I hear you right. An event or a single strike or something went into the earth there, undulated the earth, came out in all sorts of different directions, and vibrated through sonic resonance or whatever means. These natural plateaus rose from the ground. People considered them holy, and it was stable ground already. So then they decided to build structures on it because it was of the gods or whatever.
Along those sorts.
I think what he was mentioning is the arc discharge that grabbed the earth and flipped it over, moved along as the earth was spinning, and it was basically stationary, coming from one of the large planets and it just scrubbed along the earth and then flipped it and then kept scrubbing along until it came up into Peru, right?
Yeah, well, did you see the video where the guy has like a wing nut in orbit, and he twists it, and then it flips over, and then it flips again, and it flips over, and it flips back.
Yeah, it's a wrench. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was like a straight T-bar, like a T.
A T-wrench. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cosmonaut.
Right. See, I think the Earth did something similar.
Obviously I'm not in favor of that. Just because I don't think it's necessary. But obviously, at this particular juncture, I can clearly see that there has been horrible etchings right across that whole area. I mean, that's literally the highest mountains on the entire planet right there. I could imagine.
But just for clarity, I think what I'm saying, I think the Earth flipped back, and flipped back again. But that's all.
Wow.
But that's what I think happened.
Buddy, you and I talked about that.
Yes, absolutely. We did talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. And this I think just from the initial shock of the earth flipping so rapidly, it could build up charge and produce a large earth, what you're talking about, basically a shock.
I want to be clear though that it actually doesn't really hit, because electricity actually travels in a circuit, and you know this, buddy, that it's a force. It actually is going through, and that's right. Why but clearly the vibrations of that much power are mangling the planet. You're no doubt there.
That's what I'm saying. If it just the inertia of the Earth flipping would create the charge necessary to create these arcing all across the planet.
See this on the screen at the moment, guys. Now, this was in my own ignorance, as they say, back in 2017. But this is the way I envisaged the magnetic field. I thought, well, this was before I had ever spoken to anybody in the EU. And
Are you sure? Because that's what, in 2017, Andy just put this on the screen. We actually had debates about this in the hotel room.
Oh, wow. Because I hadn't spoken to anybody.
Synchronicity.
I was thinking, is it like a prominence from the sun, the way you see him going out and looping back again?
Right.
And I was thinking, is that why this one comes up and these look like they go down, and then they do it here, and then...
Well, the ancient Aborigines talk about where the diamond mines were created 150 miles apart, that a giant snake jumped out of the ground and flew 150 miles and went back into the ground. They found the second diamond mine by that story, by the Aborigines telling the people at the mine that the snake came out here where the diamonds are, and it went back. So they went, hey, show us where the snake went in. And guess what they found? Oh. Diamonds.
Yeah, that's the rainbow right there.
That's 8 miles long. It's a Starfort line, I call that one. It's just
the leprechaun.
Whoa. Where's this?
It's wherever that is, N53. That's the latitude and longitude. I'd have to go looking that up, but I have it marked.
Figured out.
Yeah. That was a small one. That's I'm zooming in. You can see the details. Yeah. So, there's the Starport in New York.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This is just in the Facebook group that I'd started where I was putting the images.
Oh, okay. The ones that you were mentioned there, my first instinct would be to think those look like almost World War I fortifications where you build trenches.
Yeah. Sorry, that was there was one question I was just looking for. Angola. Sorry, that was an interesting one in Angola. You see this kind of irregular shape, Starfort, where a lot of them seem to have regular or more regular shapes. This one is unusual. I have the arrow pointing to where it is on Google Earth. I'd have to go look for it, but maybe I will. I'll take a moment to go find out.
Part of it was mangled, but the hill was still considered important enough to repair.
Let's see. There's Angola. There's it.
Sorry. I mean, a city called Beafarta? That's hilarious. I apologize for everyone who lives there.
Maybe that's it.
A city called Falaquin would be kind of weird.
Oh, we can't even complain. There's literally a city in Newfoundland called Dildo.
I just saw this on the top of the building over there.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, I can't find it.
Another one called Come by Chance, by the way. That's very nice.
Okay, Letterkenny.
Yeah, I know, eh? We're not kidding. That's us right there. I mean, and some of the names we have are Indian too, but we mispronounce them so horribly. But it's just the way that we say them.
Like me called Man of War.
Man of War, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another place called Bog of the Ring.
I just picture Golem going, "My precious, my precious."
I don't know where that was.
Picture of Bog of the Ring. Oh.
Sorry, there was a specific one.
It doesn't look like it's crashing anymore, so things are working out quite well. Our delay has hit like 65 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just looking for that the big one up in Russia, the huge. It had come through. I'm trying to remember where it was because I do have a mark. I just have to figure out which one of these it is by turning them on. But I have so many. I mean, you can see I have so many markers here.
Right. After that, can you go to those glyphs, or did we cover that already?
We did.
Oh. Yeah.
All right, so it's going to be in the show because I was away from the computer for a while.
Well, now you've totally missed it, and all of your information that you were going to share with us is for naught. Wait, is that Starfort too?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, and see the way see the way these are just soil, Neil, and there's water features. The water seems to come in, but you can't call that a moat. That just doesn't make any sense because you can come through here. You mean, like, whoever's supposed to be defending here, are they just being sacrificed to die? You know?
Oh, you mean on the island?
Yeah, like I see, and this is a little island.
Well, they actually taught. There's a whole thing by James Burke. I think it's The Day the Universe Changed, episode 3 out of 10,
right?
Or maybe 4. But I'm not sure particularly. It could be an episode of Connections. But one of the situations was specifically referring to Starforts, and he described how they worked and everything like that. Now, granted, he didn't have Google Earth. He's also looking at the ones that were actually manned and used, and had cities inside them, that were defended and used in actual warfare. It only existed for certain periods of time. And what you're showing us, well, I mean, some of it could have been caused by hundreds of years of perhaps massive storms on the coast to wear out something. But still, some of it makes no sense at all how this happened.
Oh, look, okay.
I mean, conventionally.
Look at the scale of this. And, if anybody who's ever worked manually shifting and digging soil, like, digging a foundation for a wall or a house or whatever, and I've done this for years, believe me, I know how hard it is to shift a square cubic ton of soil. Plus, you're talking 3-to-1 ratio. Whatever you dig out of the ground forms a pile 3 times higher than what you dug out of the ground and the hole you have left. So where does all that soil go? Who dug it out? Who mapped it out? Who laid it? The precision involved. And this looks like it was done while there was water flowing. Like, that is just astounding what we're looking at right there.
It is truly, how could I not be impressed? I thought of them as giant military fortifications.
I mean, that's got a whole town inside it.
So now the military has taken over a lot of these and used these as bases, correct? And they're Fort Knox or Fort this or Fort that.
Well,
in America, they seem to have most of them. I think
they changed after, apparently, once we started using bombs and flying, obviously, and using high explosive with artillery, there was no use. Like, they could easily penetrate one of these forts if they use high explosives. So they became less useful because, obviously, against cannon fire, which is surely ballistic, it was great. So they built even lower, and basically you would only see the very, very top of the fort. After that, they were completely embedded military structures that you could not even hit, like NORAD. You know, that's how they like to roll.
The trouble with that story, Neil, is that it's impossible to build them. Go look at any starport in America, and there's gazillions of them. They were impossible to build with the population at the time when they supposed.
Oh no! I was only going with the convention. I was simply only telling everyone about that. Yeah.
I'm aware that that's what you're doing, but as I said,
okay.
I'm just saying to the people listening, go listen to the local story about who, what, where, when, and which your local star fort, wherever you are, and then go and inspect the thing. And then bring a builder with you. Bring a guy who's built something with you, and then say to him, "Here, they told me they built this in 3 years. What do you say? Or 4 years, or 20 years?" And he'll tell you they're on drugs, they're smoking something, because there's no way. The population wasn't there. Here's the thing: most people can't even tell where the stone comes from for a lot of these. Where's the quarry? There's no quarries. And who did the quarrying?
I can just imagine a giant Chinese junk going, "Drop the load of bricks off here for these people. All right, here's your load. Where's coming up? Getting some from Aswan later. All right, see you later. Do you have some of that wacky tobacco you got?"
I just blame it all on the Vikings.
All right.
It's all the Vikings' fault.
That's how they roll.
A lot of these ones are what I call, these are the water forts. A lot of these have very heavy with the water elements. But notice that even if it's built in a desert, the shape is there. If it's built near water, the shape is there. If it's built on a plateau, the shape is still there, whether it's at the top of a hill or the bottom of a hill. So the shape, that the excuse or the reason for that they give for the shape doesn't cut the mustard. It just doesn't work.
Kind of reminds me of they say that 20 years they built the pyramid, and I look at it and I go, you don't have the space. You can't have logistically that many people around the subject. It's going to take a century to build that thing, even if you're working an unbelievable amount of times. And so there's just no way logistically you can build these things in a short amount of time. It's just, you can't get enough people around it to do it.
Exactly. Too many hands interfering.
And one of the
is this the United States you're going through? Where are you at? Or are you just hitting all wherever?
This is Europe. I'm just oops. Well, they're having a crash.
Yeah, because you were going too fast. No, I'm joking.
Okay. Well, here, I'll show you this picture. Can you see that picture, folks?
That's a little bit of light in your eye.
Yeah, that's me getting a little electrical treatment from a friend of mine in my eye. That's another thing I can talk to you about again. Not today. I'll do it another time.
That's actually kind of cool.
This is from the 1920s. Every doctor in Ireland and England used to have a device like this in the 1920s.
To put plasma on your eye?
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever, or?
Oh no, I got glass in my eye, and they had to go in and fish it out.
And that's supposed to help?
This is to help with the healing process. Oh yeah, you can feel this right inside your eyeball. So, anyway, I can talk to you about that another time.
It's okay. I know what you're talking about.
He said it helped him, Neil. So.
Well, I'm not arguing. I have one of these things right here. Look at this.
Oh, cool.
I was going to just say the thing about the particular one strike. If a reversal is required, it was said during the Exodus 35 centuries ago that the Earth was rolled over and over and over and over again. It just happened to do it even a number of times. But I'm just saying, if a reversal is required for this particular kind of vibration or resonance or whatever, those is one of the, well, that's about 4 times in the last 40,000 years, as far as I understand it. Thank you.
Oh, that's interesting.
I still have to figure out how you can calculate that. I do know that the work that, I mean, obviously, there has been some clear devastation. This is one of the first ones you showed us, where they called the fortification. And it looks like it was even damaged when they found it, because doesn't that look like a farm was up in the upper right corner or something? Or
now this is the Phoenix Park in Ireland, in Dublin, where the president lives. Now see this up here, this pentangle pentagon in the top right hand corner.
Don't you guys use a king?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, keep going.
With a little left on, keep on storage in here.
Right.
I'm being unkind, but anyway, this is called the Citadel, and now it's a pond. It's called Citadel Pond. But apparently, and again, I have to get this confirmed, but apparently in World War II, the Germans accidentally bombed Ireland, and they apparently dropped the bomb in Citadel Pond, but they paid us compensation.
Well, that was kind of them.
It's odd, though, isn't it? But so the story goes.
Oh, you mean it's odd that they accidentally bombed the Star Fort?
Yeah, right at that spot. And to this day, this is where, when the President of Ireland was meeting Prince Charles, apparently that's where he met him, right on the Citadel Pond, that point right there. So that's for all the people who like the esoteric Masonic stuff. They can go figure it out now.
That's pretty
fascinating.
Weird.
They plowed that one down. They took that completely down.
Right. But as I said, so I mean, where they said they took, is it 4 years to bury it? That's the guy there. So if anybody wants to just double check that, Decimus Burton, he was given the job of leveling the star-shaped fort and basically to bury it. Now there are tunnels under the Phoenix Park. We know about them. There's actually a train tunnel. So some very interesting things below there. And as I said, the fortification that's there,
mind.
It's yeah, there's some
Chris Dunn's birthday. I invited him on the show. He just said thanks because I wished him happy birthday.
Oh, he's pretty awesome.
That would be awesome to have Chris Dunn on.
Well, it's pretty awesome to have our friend here on. So.
I need to sign off. Is it okay if I sign off, guys? Because I'm back to work.
No. This is fantastic. I will gladly take care of this. This has been wonderful, and I don't know what to say. You've really impressed. You've made me reconsider, and well, at least consider more, because clearly there's more to it than what they're saying. And I mean, I'm sure that part of that looks like, I mean, one of the two of them could have been done by a flood or something, but not all of them, and not the way they describe it. Some of them in places where they clearly should never have been. Amazing.
Well, again,
thank you for
draw too many conclusions myself. I mean, what I've said to you guys here tonight, I'm hoping you take into spirit that, look, I'm not claiming to be, anything special here in any regard, other than, I'm kind of curious. I have maybe I have some weird type of OCD, I don't know. But, I went scouring the whole planet for these, and the more I found, and then I started finding these other unusual features. And as I was combining kind of all of that with what I've been listening to on your show,
right,
Electric Universe stuff, and it was just, do these have anything to do with it? And I couldn't really definitively answer that for myself. I think at the time. I think now I'm getting there. Just let me show you this last little thing before we go. See this feature? This is
I think I understand what you're saying.
This is the feature that I was saying. I think. See this feature here at the end?
Right. Yes.
If you look at the star reports, you'll see a lot of them have a feature like this. It's the strangest thing, and I think that would have been. I think that would have assisted in illuminating from the charges that would have built up. I think that's they put something there to get the charges going.
You know what else scares me? That because of the points, they could know where storms were coming from by what side lit up.
Ooh, that's interesting. Wow. See, this is why I'm delighted to have shared this, because you guys are going to be able to, tear it up, tear it down, add new stuff, add more perspective. So I'm just delighted, and I love what you are doing.
We're delighted that you accepted the invitation.
Well, I'm also here to say to you too that I think you need support. I think you need financial support, and I'm happy to, if you have a chip in bucket somewhere, I'm happy to chip a few quid in as well. I think what you're doing is great, and I think it needs to be supported by the listeners and everybody involved.
My God, love you.
Well,